Okay, this is a video kind of concerning the, another video about the PSP, because some people just didn't get it when I, like, put pictures to that song or whatever. Okay. So, now, I don't know if any of you guys remember my Lynx game review. Now, don't get me wrong, I think the Lynx game was a good system, but, it just couldn't compete with the Game Boy. Although the graphics were ahead of the Game Boy, I mean, the Game Boy wasn't even in color, nor was it even backlit, but the Game Boy original had way better battery life and a larger library of games, so it just couldn't, the Lynx just couldn't compete. The PSP is the real deal. It sucks. Oh God, it sucks. Believe it or not, just like the Lynx game, this thing devours, like, this thing, like, drains the battery power within, like, 2 or 3 hours, or, like, 4 or 5 hours if you got it on the low brightness setting, but the battery life on this is probably, it just sucks, and that's like one of the main reasons I got this thing. So, like, I figured it wouldn't really last any longer, but at least then I could carry extra batteries. And in case you're wondering, yes, I have rechargeable AA batteries. Otherwise, it would have kind of been retarded to buy that and then having to buy batteries all the time. But anyway, this thing like devours batteries, which is also, I really personally, I don't like the way the joystick is designed. It's just, I mean, they should have just made that the main thing and then just made the joystick a little bigger and more better response, like the Sega Nomad that I reviewed. It should have been something like that. I mean, you know, I know it would have kind of stuck out of the system more than this does, but I think it still would have fit in your pocket if it could, like, press down, if you know what I mean. Also, another thing that I hate about this thing is the fact that the discs break easily. Like the games, they just break easily. They just kind of suck. And speaking of the games, well, the disc problem is probably my biggest complaint with the system, but my other complaint is also the fact that most of the games just kind of just aren't very good. And there's one thing that kind of, it's one thing that really pisses me off, is that, like, pretty much every PSP game I've ever played, like, it doesn't have, like, any way to, like, kind of, like, once you die, you have to start the entire level over again on almost every PSP game I've ever played. I mean, I've never seen one that gives you, like, a second chance. Like, you have to basically start the whole level over again. And also, a lot of times the games will be, like, really, really short, but they'll be as hard as a T-Rex's skull. Like, say, like, okay, you have to make a game that fits on a disc that's, like, this big, so they decide, it's like, hey, let's only have 3 levels. Let's make the first level stupidly easy, you breeze right through it, and then the second and third levels are, like, excruciatingly difficult, and, like, they make you so mad you want to chuck your PSP at the wall. And I mean, it's kind of the that's kind of my biggest gripe with the system. Is like it's the fact that a lot of the games just kind of suck, and most of them don't really have much of a storyline, which would be okay if they were longer. I mean, if there was more gameplay, and a lot of times they just, like, the controls are so, and on several that I've played, the controls are so bad it makes you wonder if they even tested the game before they like put it out on the market. I mean, really, it makes you wonder if if they did test it, it makes you wonder if a human being was testing it or if it was just a computer rundown test or something. I don't know. And also, the other thing is that I honestly don't see the need for having all these stupid like features like on your like a video player, music, and photo viewer. I mean, really, what does it matter? And they very ambitiously, actually, you could get a camera for this thing, like it goes on the top, kind of like the Game Boy camera. Wow, I would look so cool, like going around, like taking pictures with this thing sticking out of the top of it. I mean, it makes you look even. I mean, it makes you look like a nerd. Makes you look retarded. I mean, I don't have that camera thing, but yeah. Also, another thing is that like I know this isn't really a big deal, but it's things like this they shouldn't have overlooked on such an expensive system. Alright? The power light, which indicates when the battery's running low, is exactly where your thumb's gonna be when you're playing the game. So if you're actually playing the thing instead of just sitting it on the table like this, you're not gonna see the light blink on and off, so you're not gonna know when your battery's running low. So, and speaking of batteries, one thing that I've always wondered is like, one thing that kind of like, it's like the fact that there's a fourth setting. It's like usually there's three, but when you plug it in, there's four, and the fourth setting is brighter than the other settings. Now, it's like the AC power. It's like it provides more power than the PSP's internal rechargeable batteries. But if you have something like this, even something that uses AA's, this uses AA's, and that fourth setting becomes available when I'm using a AA battery pack, which means these two AA rechargeable batteries are actually providing more power for the screen than the internal rechargeable batteries of the PSP. So why does it cost so much to replace them if they can't even provide as much power as like a $10 pair of rechargeable AA's? But also this thing probably, like, if you actually carry it around with you and use it as a portable, it's probably not going to last you more than like a year and a half, because I don't know, it just isn't that solid. I mean, it'll survive like a few drops or whatever, but it's not as durable as the Game Boy Advance. So, and I mean, like my first one like had a problem with the disk drive after about a month. I mean, it was under warranty, but still, what a pain in the butt to have to send it back. And the second one lasted, like, of course, it lasted a month after the warranty expired, and then the switch comes off and breaks. So I have to use a pen to turn it on and off. Then the right controller board, or whatever it is, just died. I don't know what happened, but that's what they had to replace. Now, that PSP, it stayed with me for about 4 more months after that incident, and then it kind of, I actually lost that one, but the one that I bought from the store to replace that one that I lost, after 3 days, the disk drive fails. Imagine that. So then I returned that one, and I got this one. This one's been alright, but I don't know. I'm getting a DS Lite soon. I mean, I've heard that like I mean, the games on that are better anyways.